This video consists of 3 parts. Polar coordinate system. Graphing polar equations. The beauty of polar equations. The polar coordinate system is a two-dimensional coordinate system. Each point on a polar plane is determined by a unique distance from a reference point, and a specific angle from a reference direction. The reference point is called the pole. We denote it by O, which is analogous to the origin of a Cartesian coordinate system. We choose the positive x-axis as the reference direction, and call it the polar axis. We denote it by L. The distance from the pole is called the radial coordinate. The angle measured from the polar axis to a ray, anti-clockwise, is called the angular coordinate. Angles in polar notation are generally expressed in either radians or degrees. A point with radial coordinate r and angular coordinate phi is denoted by r, phi. 4.2 pi over 4, we know that the radial coordinate is 2. And the angular coordinate is pi over 4. This means that the point must be on the yellow circle of radius 2. As the angle is pi over 4. So starting from the polar axis, anti-clockwise, pi over 4, determines a ray, which is denoted by the yellow dashed line. The yellow dashed line and the yellow circle intersect at point P. That is the point, 2, pi over 4. Similarly, for point, -3, 3 pi over 4, we know that the radial coordinate is -3. And the angular coordinate is 3 pi over 4. This means that the point must be on the yellow circle of radius 3. As the angle is 3 pi over 4. So starting from the polar axis, anti-clockwise, 3 pi over 4, determines a ray. But as the radial coordinate is -3, so the ray is on the opposite direction, which is denoted by the yellow dashed line. The yellow dashed line and the yellow circle intersect at point Q. That is the point, -3, 3 pi over 4. How to graph a polar equation. We take polar equation, r equals 2 cosine phi, as an example. Firstly, we get the values of 2 cosine phi, for some values of phi. When phi equals 0, cosine phi is 1. So 2 cosine phi is 2. When phi equals pi over 4, cosine phi is root 2 over 2. So 2 cosine phi is root 2. When phi equals pi over 2, cosine phi is 0. So 2 cosine phi is still 0. When phi equals 3 pi over 4, cosine phi is negative root 2 over 2. So 2 cosine phi is negative root 2. When phi equals pi, cosine phi is negative 1. So 2 cosine phi is negative 2. 4.20, as the angle is 0. So it is just on the polar axis, with a distance of 2 from the pole. 4.2 pi over 4, as the angle is pi over 4. So it is just on the ray of angle pi over 4, with a distance of root 2 from the pole. 4.0 pi over 2, it is just the pole. 4.negative root 2, 3 pi over 4, as the polar coordinate is negative root 2. So it is on the opposite direction of the ray of angle 3 pi over 4. That is on the ray of 7 pi over 4, with a distance of root 2 from the pole. 4.2 pi, as the polar coordinate is negative 2. So it is on the opposite direction of the ray of angle pi. That is on the polar axis, with a distance of 2 from the pole. Now you can just connect these points to graph the polar equation. It is a circle. If you are not familiar with the shape of the polar equation, you can also add some more points. Finally, enjoy the beauty of polar equations.